Okay, this is Algebra 2, and it is day 3 of factoring. And you're going to take what you learned on day 1 and what you learned on day 2 and kind of put those together. So as always, the first thing you want to do is look for the greatest common factor for all the terms. If there is anything that all 3 terms have in common, you need to pull it out. It will make life much easier in the long run, give you smaller numbers to work with, etc. But if there's nothing in common, and there is a coefficient in front of x squared, things are going to work a little bit different. You're still going to find the factors, but not of the number at the end. You're going to take the number at the front, and you're going to multiply it by the number at the end. That's where this 24 came from. Then you find the factors of that number. So 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Sign rules are the same. You look at the second sign first. This one is a negative or a minus, and so that means that the factors are going to have different signs. So then you look at the first one, and it's a negative, so your biggest is negative. Then you go fix all your signs. You still choose the factors that equal the coefficient of x. So I need them to equal -5, which is why we chose 3 and -8. Here's where it changes. Instead of getting to write your answer, you're going to have to pull down the first term. Then you rewrite the middle term using the factors, so plus 3x minus 8x, and then you pull down the last term. This turns it into 4 terms, which goes back to what we were doing on day 1, where you split it in half and you see what you can pull out. Okay, so this example has been worked out for you, but let's look at number 1 and try one on our own. All right, so 6, 13, and 5 have nothing in common. So you're going to take your 6 and multiply it by your 5 and get 30. 30 is what we find the factors of. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Your signs are going to be different, and the big one is negative. So you go make all your big factors negative. That means the small ones are positive. If you want to put the plus, that's fine. You're going to choose the 2 that when you combine them give you -13. That's going to be 2 minus 15. All right, this is where I said it gets different. You do not get to write your answer. You've got to bring down your 6a squared. You bring over your 2 and your minus 15, so plus 2a minus 15a. And then you bring down your minus 5. So then you get to cut it in half. Looking at the first 2, they both divide by 2, and they both have an a. So we're going to pull out a 2a. 6 divided by 2 is 3. A squared, take an a out, leaves a. Plus 2a and 2a cancel, so you have to put a 1. There's a minus in the middle, so bring your minus down. The next 2 both divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Bring your a. Since we brought a minus down, we have to change this sign, and it becomes plus 5 divided by 5 is 1. So you have 3a plus 1, and you have 2a minus 5. That's your answer. Okay, moving over to number 2. They have nothing in common, so you're going to take your 4 times your 1, and you get 4, and that's what you find the factors of. 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Signs are the same, and they're both negative, so make everything negative. And we need the ones that equal -4, so it's -2 and -2. Remember, at this point, you're going to bring down your 4c squared. Pull over your -2, so minus 2c minus 2c. Bring down your plus 1. So then you're ready to cut it in half. First 2 have a 2 and a c in common. It leaves you 2c minus 1. Bring down the minus. Okay, these have nothing in common. When there's nothing in common, you put a 1. And then, remember, since it was a minus, you got to change that sign, and it becomes 2c minus 1. So your answer is 2c minus 1 and 2c minus 1. Going down to number 3. You're going to start by taking your 4 times your 6 and finding the factors of 24. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Signs are different. The big ones are negative. Means the small ones are positive. They need to equal -5, so we're talking 3 and -8. So bring down your 4x squared. Pull over your 3 and your -8, so plus 3x minus 8x. Bring down your -6. Cut it in half. First two both have an x in common, and it leaves you 4x plus 3. Bring down your minus. These have a 2 in common. Leaves you 4x plus 3. So your answer is 4x plus 3 and x minus 2. Number 4, 6 times 15, which is 90, 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 60, 5 and 18, 6 and 15, 9 and 10. Signs are the same. They're all positive. They have to equal 19, so you're going to use 9 and 10. Bring down your 6x squared. Pull over your plus 9x plus 10x. Bring down your plus 15. Cut it in half. First two have a 3 and an x in common. Leaves you 2x plus 3. Bring down the plus. The next two have a 5 in common. Leaves you 2x plus 3. Solution is 2x, or the factor is 2x plus 3 and 3x plus 5. It's not really a solution because we're not solving. There's no equal to. Going to the back. You see the problem that I was supposed to have done at the beginning. So if you want to go back to the front page, you can. If not, we may as well just move on, don't you think? Looking at number 6. Notice that all of these will divide by a 6. Your life will be so much easier if you will pull that 6 out. And it leaves you x squared minus x minus 2. You're not going to lose the 6. You're just not going to use it again until you write it at the end. So now it turns into one like factoring day 2. Find the factors of 2, 1 and 2. Signs are different. Largest one is negative, and they have to equal -1. These are the ones that when you find the factors, you write the answer. So bring the 6 down, and then you have x plus 1 and x minus 2. Now, if you don't see that they all divide by 6, and you do 6 times 12 is 72, and find the factors and all that, you will end up at basically the same answer, and that's okay. It's just a whole lot easier if you'll see that and pull it out. Looking at number 6, they all divide by a 2. Leaves you 3x squared plus 8x minus 3. Okay, it doesn't get you back to one like day 2, but it still gives you smaller numbers to work with. So 3 times 3 is 9. Factors of 9 are 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Signs are different. Largest is positive, so the small one's negative. It needs to equal 8. Just bring your 2 down, but don't worry about it. Actually, just leave the 2 alone for the moment. Bring your 3x squared down. Pull over your minus 1x, your plus 9x, and bring down your minus 3. Cut it in half. Pull out your x, and it leaves you 3x minus 1. Plus, pull out a 3, and it leaves you 3x minus 1. So you have 3x minus 1 and x plus 3, but don't forget this 2 we pulled out and stick it at the front. Number 7, we're going to do 4 times -17. So you have a negative 68, 1 and 68, 2 and 34, 4 and 17, okay, so let's see if we've got one. Maybe signs are different. Largest is positive, and they have to equal 1. So there ought to be something a little bit closer together that would equal 68. And you're just going to want to take your calculator and just try it. 68 divided by 6, 68 divided by 8, 68 divided by 7, I skipped that, 68 divided by 9, 68 divided by 11, 68 divided by 12, 68 divided by 13, 68 divided by 14, and 68 divided by 15, 68 divided by 16, 68 divided by 17, which we've already got, 68 divided by 18, 68 divided by 19. It's looking to me like nothing is going to work, and so that means that your answer here is going to be prime. There's nothing you can do to break it down. Don't just jump in there and give prime as the answer a lot. Do a lot of work, make sure it really is prime. All right, this has you ready for the assignment. Call me over if you have any questions.